Hi Virgo, welcome to your mid-June 2018 tarot update. It's Raina here, and I'm using the Druid Craft tarot deck. And just separating these into little piles. Okay, well, let us see. This is a general focus, and sometimes when I do general readings, I like to see if it seems more to me like this is for career matters or love matters, because sometimes the cards really kind of go in one way versus the other. In this particular case, I mean, if there had been more of a Pentacles, sometimes I think of work matters, and then there are a lot of cups, then I think of love matters. Now there's a combination in this reading. The other thing that's interesting about this reading is that there are no major arcana cards. So it seems like just kind of like the day-to-day grind, and not something, you know, we're talking about a 2-week period here, half of the month. And it may be for a lot of Virgos just business as usual, nothing like major coming up, but just kind of like what it is that you're dealing with. And of course, this is a general reading, so keep that in mind as well. The centerpiece of this reading is the Two of Pentacles. So this can be for some people that you're really, I do get the impression also with the Knight of Pentacles, it's the Prince of Pentacles is the Knight of Pentacles, that some of you may be really hustling. Maybe you're working 2 jobs. Hey, you're Virgos, right? So being hardworking is nothing new to a lot of you. And let's look at why that would be, why you might be working 2 jobs here. We have the Five of Cups in the past position. So this could indicate some kind of disappointment that you felt. So if it was in the workplace, you thought that you were going to have a future somewhere. Maybe you thought you were going to get a raise or a promotion, and that didn't come through. So you are kind of trying to maybe either pick up the pieces in terms of what if you need more money, or you were anticipating more money, you're going and trying to get it from a different source in addition to whatever it is. The Two of Pentacles is kind of like juggling. Now let me see if they show her juggling. Yeah, they do actually. I mean, it's not like a juggler in the typical garb. It's a woman. Let me see what her expression is. She doesn't seem like she doesn't seem very thrilled about it. It's actually a card sometimes of being extremely busy. But there may be 2 things that are kind of really pulling at you, 2 commitments that you're trying to keep together. And typically I think of 2 jobs because Pentacles tend to be practical matters, but there could even be 2 people you're juggling. And you know, based on her expression, you may not be happy with either one. And if you're dealing with 2 different people in the past position, the Five of Cups can indicate that maybe you're coming out of some kind of grief, like if you lost a loved one, a spouse, a lover, even a parent, and that caused you to kind of, let's say you lost a parent and you were married and you just like didn't know how to channel your grief and you had an affair. I mean, I'm just trying to think of all the possibilities, but whatever may have happened, the catalyst may have been some kind of a disappointment that led you to do something else. Or you have been disappointed by a partner who's doing this, maybe a fellow earth sign, a fellow Virgo. I don't know how many times Virgos hook up, because I don't know personally any couples where both are Virgos. Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. And let's see what we have as the spiritual. Princess of Cups. This is the Page of Cups. That's the equivalent of the Page of Cups. So let me see how they show her. I love that. Oh, I love this particular illustration. Isn't that beautiful? It's such an autumnal feeling, which I really am kind of like, trying to visualize because it's 90 degrees outside. But so the Page of Cups, as a spiritual message, is about having a sense of innocence, okay? And, well, in some cases. So if you've been in some kind of situation where somebody may have, like, cheated on you or did something to you, and now you just, like, you don't want to commit to anybody because you're gun shy about relationships now. You're kind of paranoid. The Page of Cups is about trusting, being very open to something emotionally, not not having that kind of prejudice that taints something before it even starts and things like that. And in terms of the other possible interpretation, the Page of Cups can point to being too gullible and not being discerning enough. And it's kind of funny thinking about Virgo in this sense, because Virgo is all about, critiquing, analyzing things, and there may be a blind spot. Maybe you're good at doing that in many areas of your life, and the one area is your romantic relationships, and that's where you kind of are too gullible, too believing, too trusting. That's just another possible interpretation of it. But it could be like beginning a new relationship with somebody who is a water sign individual. So that's the water element with earth is actually very good. Water nourishes the earth, because the earth can be very dry, doesn't have a lot of emotion, and your contact with water signs gives you a little bit more juiciness, for lack of a better word. So the water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Pisces is your opposite sign. And actually, the Princess of Cups connects to Pisces, if that means anything to some of you. I just want to say, whenever you see a 2, there can also be a choice that has to be made too. What crosses you is the Princess of Wands. So this is going to be the Page of Wands. And in the upright position, this can be good news. So there may be in the challenging position, there may be something that you hear that you don't want to hear. Maybe if you have 2 jobs and the main job that you had is where you felt disappointed, maybe you find out that it's over with, I mean, I think that the reason the 2 of Pentacles exists is because you're kind of in that defensive posture where you may have kind of seen the writing on the wall, and that's why you were disappointed about something in the first place, and you were anticipating the possibility of this. So don't think that this would be something that would just come out of the blue. This is something that, if you resonate with the 5 of Cups in your workplace, then the Page of Wands would just simply be that what you feared has come to pass. And maybe you initially just thought you had lost a promotion, but you kind of sensed that something was not quite right at work or something like that, and so now you are in a position of, really having to deal with whatever this is. But here's the thing about that. This is what I personally believe, is that with the Two of Pentacles, maybe the other thing that you're doing is something that is your own job, okay? And if that's the case, you can't fire yourself. So you're not going to have to worry about being fired. And you can't, or lay yourself off. So the only thing that I can say for anybody who is going through losing their job, for instance, is that you may see it as a bad thing, but if you look at the situation at hand, more times than not, I think people will see that they were unhappy where they were. And so it's kind of like the universe, making sure that you moved on in your life and that you didn't linger. Maybe you were already unhappy, but you stayed there, because that's what it kind of shows. And so something else had to come along. And the other thing, too, is, I'm trying to think if, this could also be a relationship with somebody that is not working out. So this may be if you have two different people that you're involved with, one of them may be a fire sign individual, and it's just not working out. And usually, so the fire signs, by the way, are Sagittarius, Aries, Leo. And what normally happens in these types of relationships is that there could be physical attraction for one another, even intellectual attraction. But when it comes to the ability of the fire sign person to commit maybe as quickly as you would want them to, it may not be there, or it may just be that the other person is looking for a good time, that they're not really looking for a relationship. And so if you're like choosing between fire and water sign person, the water sign person is usually going to be more stable and willing to have the type of relationship that you're looking for. What comes in is represented by the Five of Swords. I did get this for another sign, and this is a card sometimes at work where there's a situation where somebody gains at the expense of somebody else. So it's like, empty victory. You or somebody else gets what you want, but at what cost? And the thing is, the mindset of this person is the end justifies the means. So if we look at it in the context, isn't that funny that we had the Five of Cups and the Five of Swords? We had these two fives. And 5 is the number of instability. So with the cups, it's emotional instability. There's a feeling of, when you feel dejected, you're not in a place of kind of balance. You're in a place where you're dipping lower. When you have the Five of Swords, it's a imbalance of the thoughts and the communication, the words and the thoughts. So with the Five of Swords, sometimes this can be somebody spreading malicious stuff about you, and that can be like if you are in a situation where you have left your job, and with the Prince, let me just say, with the Page of Wands, it may the news may be upsetting, but it may not be that you get fired, but you may leave your job because of your own reasons. But you may hear a message that's upsetting because someone is like slandering you, dragging your name through the mud, is basically what it is. If this is a workplace situation, this could be somebody who is threatened by you. Usually with Virgo people, they probably, I would say more times than not, cultivate great relationships with the boss. And people who are competitive, maybe that person's also a fire sign. Fire signs tend to be very competitive. People who are competitive oftentimes feel threatened when, and the lower nature of these types of people may think that the end justifies the means. Whatever they can do to get to the top, that is what they're going to do, even if it means distorting your words or trying to make you out to be something negative to the boss. And if the boss is the type of person to be very impressionable, especially if the boss is like the Page of Cups, and that could even be like the boss who is impressionable, easily influenced, and that might be telling you that. But then the outcome, Page of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles. So this is you. Sometimes I have to get my head together with these different names for the cards, for the suit cards, or it's not suit, the court cards, I mean. So the Prince or the Knight of Pentacles is a very hardworking energy that's associated with Taurus. That could be one of your earth sign people if that's at the focus of this reading. If you're involved with somebody who's a Taurus, you might end up with them if they're one of two people. But this could easily be you, Virgo, like I said, hustling, doing whatever you can to make a buck because you're trying to make up for some loss, perhaps, or you are planning for something in the future and you don't want to have to be dependent on a certain job, or you know that you can't be. Whatever is going on, I think it's temporary. These are, when you have the minor arcana cards, they're just like little blips on the screen. They're not long-term influential transits. So just keep your head up. It looks like you're going to have work, so it's not a question of not having work. It's just that you may be like in a transition between things that you were doing and what you want to do, and now you're just doing what it takes to just kind of make ends meet or to save for extra things that you want in the future. And you're doing it. You're juggling, it's a juggling act, but you're making it. Okay, Virgo, that's what I have for you. If you'd like a personalized reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of June. Take care. Bye.